Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your friend Siren Frost, and today I'll be doing another deck profile update featuring Dark Irregulars Scharhrot. This is the newest update from GB Set 8, so I am very actually happy to introduce it back. Now, the whole deck is centered around the Darkness ability, which is, I am very, very happy just to have that in there. And, let's see, I just gotta get some of this organized first. So I got most of the stuff from set 8, and just missing, one more Scharhrot and the new G Perfect cards, but other than that, this deck really works pretty much consistently, like, it works pretty swell with each other, so, without any further ado, guys, let's get on the deck profile. So my starting Vanguard is Enigmatic Assassin. You're all probably kind of thinking, why not running Rough Letter Udinese? Udinese is also a good option too. You guys can play him if you want, but I prefer to play... If you're going to play the full Darkness ability, you might as well have cards that have Darkness in its power, so that's why I'm playing her. And her skill is Darkness. At the beginning of your attack step, if you have at least 10 or more cards... Actually, screw it, I can't read it, for shit. At the beginning of your attack step, if the number of cards in your soul is 10 or more, you may call this to rearguard, and if you do, it gets plus 5,000 power. Then, if you have 15 or more cards in the soul, this unit also gets another 10,000 power. So total, this unit will also get 15,000 power. So basically, it should become a 20k attacker or 20k booster. So it just kind of depends on you how far you want to go with this. So she's not a Forerunner, so that's actually pretty much of a good thing because you need her into the soul. And when the time comes, she's gonna be needed into the rearguard circle. So that's a good thing, and that's why I'm only playing one of her. Now, for my trigger lineup, I'm playing 4 copies of Alice of Nightmareland for the heal triggers, just because it is a very dark and eerie kind of card, and I think Alice is the only thing I did like in Alice in Wonderland, so the fact that she's dark now is pretty fucking awesome. So, 4 heals. And then we're playing 4 copies of the Scharhrot Crit Trigger One-Eyed Succubus, so she's a one-eyed succubus kind of thing. What she does is if you have a Vanguard with Scharhrot in its name, you can shove her to the soul. When Scharhrot attacks the Vanguard, move her to the soul, draw 1 card, and gain 5,000 power to Scharhrot. And next, we're playing 4 copies of Dark Nightmareland. All you do is just shove them to the soul, give your Vanguard give any of your units 3k power. Very standard on that one. And then, next up, we're playing 4 copies of Weretigre Fanatica. Yes, we are playing 12 crits in here because the stand trigger is a bit too much. And I'm starting to miss the feeling of having 12 crits in decks now, so yeah, this is a very good start right there. You guys see my 2 decks that have 12 crits, which mostly is Pale Moon. Now, I know you're probably all thinking in the Pale Moon that Nightmare Dolls should be at least stand triggers. But you know what? Fuck the rules. Fuck the gods. This is my own deck profile, and I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want to say. And yes, I did say a lot of F words. So you know what? Sue me. But that's my second language. So, for grade 1s, we're playing 4 copies of Edge in the Darkness. She is the newest member of the Darkness ability, and apparently initiates first unit to ride in. And her skill is Darkness Continuous. During your turn, if the number of cards in your soul is 6 or more, this unit gets 3,000 power. So she becomes a 10k body. And another continuous ability. This girl has basically 3 continuous abilities. So, here's another one. If the number of cards in your soul is 10 or more, this unit gets Intercept. And continuous ability, this unit can intercept from the back row. So apparently, she's probably the very first unit in Dark Irregulars that can attack from the back row, not just Aqua Force. So fuck you, Aqua Force, for having a lousy skill. I don't know, I just can't say that anymore. Anyways, next for grade 1, we're playing 4 copies of Succubus of Pure Love. She is the Scharhrot Searcher, and she's also a Stride Enabler. Reason why we're playing 4 of her is because we are going to be striding a shit ton when we hit grade 3, so yeah. She's also good for boosting as well, so there's no harm in that. And all you have to do is just discard a card or reveal a grade 3, search for Scharhrot, and then add them to your hand, from your deck to your hand, and then discard a card. That's it. And then you can count her as a stride because she counts as a grade 3. Next, I'm playing 4 copies of Flagbreaker. Until I get the Succubus of Avarice in my possession, this is the best option I can deal with until we get that unit. But he does pretty vastly well too, especially with counterblast heavy cards. So it's not really a bad thing, but it's passive. So we all know what he kind of does. As long as you have a copy of Flagbreaker in your drop zone, when he's in the Guardian Circle, you countercharge a free card. So that is not really a bad thing at all. Next, I'm growing out of balls here and playing 2 copies of Dimension Creeper. Now, some people see this as a way of like, why not play 3? Play 1 more Dimension Creeper. Take one of the Edges of Darkness out and play 3 Creepers. That does maybe pretty well for some people, but for me, it really doesn't, because you want to conserve some of your deck as possible, especially for possibilities of triggers. So, Dimension Creeper's only at 2 for me, so I'm not going to have only a grudge against that. And so, yeah, that is the grade 1 lineup. Now, for grade 2, we are actually playing 4 copies of the newest guy as well, Demonted Executioner, another darkness monster. And what he does is 1 turn darkness act. Counterblast 1, if the number of cards in your souls is 6 or more, this unit gets plus 2,000 power in a turn. And if your number of cards in your soul is 10 or more, this unit gets additional 3,000 power. So he'd be a 5k attacker, a 14k attacker already on the field. And then his other ability is an amazing one. When this unit is placed on a rearguard circle, look at the top 7 cards of your deck and search for up to 1 card that has a darkness ability, and add and place into your soul and shuffle the rest of your deck. So this will also give you possibilities of pulling out triggers. Next, we're playing 4 copies of Dopple Vampir, and this skill is he's basically a Silent Tom. As long as you have 15 or more cards in your soul, your opponent cannot guard any grade 0 from his or her hand. That is a scary combination. And his first darkness ability is, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if the number of cards in your soul is 6 or more, this unit gets plus 5,000 power in a turn. So when you have 6 or more cards in the soul, he gets 5,000 power. So we have 14k body, plus your opponent can't guard any grade 0 from his or her hand. That is a very good bonus right there. And then we're also playing for the final grade 3s. We're playing 3 copies of Blood Sacrifice Ruthven. Ruthven's ability is, when his unit is placed on the rearguard circle, if the number of cards in your soul is 4 or more, you may pay the cost. And if you do, draw a card and soul charge 1. So, as long as you have 4 or more cards within the soul when he's called to the field, you may draw a card and use soul charge 1. So you get a free soul charge and a free card in your hand. So this alone is a really, really good combination, especially with all 3 of them having darkness abilities. Well, he doesn't, but the other 2 do. So that alone, I mean, you can also play Ruthven in Blade Wings as well, or the newest archetype we're having is Nightmareland. So either way you can look at it, it's pretty damn broken. Next, for grade 3s, we're playing 4 copies of the main boss himself, Scharhrot Vampir. Scharhrot's stride skill is, you soul charge 2 cards, and you have to choose your your opponent must choose his or her one of her rear guards and force off the field when this unit attacks. So let me read you the whole skill. Counterblast 1. When this unit strides, soul charge 2, choose one of your vanguards, and this unit gets an ability. When this unit attacks the vanguard, if the number of cards in your soul is 6 or more, your opponent must choose his or her one of his or her rear guards and retires it. So as long as you have 6 cards in the soul, your opponent must choose one of his or her rear guards and force off the field. And GB2, which I definitely forgot to read first, is during your turn, if the number of cards in your soul is 6 or more, this unit gets 10,000 power. Then if the number of cards in your soul is 10 or more, this unit gets plus 1 critical. So if you have like 16 cards in your soul, this unit will get 10,000 power and plus 1 critical. So it's not really a bad loss. Actually, it's a pretty damn good thing if you ask me. Next, I'm playing 4 copies of Sweet Predator. Now, I could have easily gone with Gentlman Vampire, but the problem is, I only have 1. And I feel like I need 4 as a playset, just so I can make a deck more plausible. But she's also pretty good too. Whenever a card goes into a soul, she gets 3,000 power at the end of the turn. So, the more cards you soul charge while she's on the field, the more powerful she become. So it's not really a bad loss either way. So that's the main deck. And then for G-Zone, we are playing one copy of One Steeped in Sin Scharhrot. Luckily, he is not a Persona Blast, but his skill is a Darkness one. Generation Break 2, if I can... let me see if I can zoom in. Screw it, I'll just read it here. Generation Break 2, Darkness. Carablast 1, when this unit attacks, may pay the cost, and if you do, put all your rear guards into your soul, and this unit gets 10,000 power at the end of the battle. If the number of cards in your soul is 10 or more, retire all your opponent's rear guards, and if the number of cards in your soul is 15 or more, at the end of the battle, your opponent cannot call any sentinels to the Guardian Circle. So, this basically shuts down sentinels, and it gives your opponent less things to work with. So, that's why Scharhrot's... But now, I've seen people play mostly at 2, and I want to play him at 2, but for right now, that's the only one I did pull, so 1's enough for now. Oh, yeah, I definitely forgot. So he goes on top here, next to Alice's tit. Next, we're playing 4 copies of Abominable 1 Gilderay. Gilderay is a classic vampire who's from GB3 and is still a broken sauce to this day for all Dark Regular players. His skill is, you Persona Blast 1 copy of Gilderay face within the G-Zone, and then the skills apply. If the number of cards in your soul is 10 or more, this unit gets 10,000 power. Then, if the number of cards in your soul is 15 or more, this unit gets a new skill. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, at the end of that battle, or until the end of that battle, your opponent can call any grade 1 or more cards to the Guardian Circle. And the best part is, if the number of cards in your G-Zone is 2 or more, plus 1 critical. So, you must have 6 cards in this, or 10 cards in the soul to gain 10,000 power. And you must also have 15 cards to gain that glory skill. But, however, as long as you have 2 or more face-up cards in your G-Zone, this unit gets plus 1 critical. So if you don't get the glory skill, you still have 10,000 power to deal with and a plus 1 critical beast. So, that's not really a bad thing at all. Next, we're playing 3 copies of Love Tempest, Kisskill, Lira. I'm thinking about taking one of them out when I get another Scharhrot, but for now, 3 was just fine as your generic stride. When her skill is, when you at the end, fuck this shit. I need to read this. When his unit attack hits the Vanguard, you soul charge 2, and the number of cards in your soul is 6 or more, draw a card. So she helps you soul charge and draw a free card. So as long as the attack goes through, so that's not really a bad thing. That's actually pretty damn good. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Rebellion, Retainer of Flesh, Blood, Frederick. And I'm reading one of them because I need to read. Choose a card from your hand and put in your soul. This unit gets 1,000 power for each card in your soul until the end of the turn. If the total power increase with this effect during this turn is 10,000 or more or greater, all of your rear guards in the front row gets plus 5,000 power in a turn. So, as long as you shove 10 or more cards in his soul, if the power goes to 10,000 or more, so basically, if it reaches like 36,000, then your other 2 rear guards in the front row gets plus 5,000 power. But you probably need to time it right. So I'm still kind of iffy with him, but for now this is the best I can do. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Mask of Demonic Frenzy Ericrius. His skill is Darkness. When his unit attacks a Vanguard, you may soul charge 2. If the number of cards in your soul is 6 or more, at the end of the battle, this unit gets an auto skill. When this unit attack hits, your opponent chooses one of his or her rear guards and retires it. And if the number of cards in your soul is 15 or more, this unit gets 1,000 power for each card in your soul until the end of that battle. Yeah, so this unit also gains power from the soul. And he does have that Ammon skill, which is a pretty damn good effect. Let's see if we can just move some of them up here so we can make some room. There we go. Yeah, that's gonna have to do. And then for our final grade 4s, we're playing 4 copies of Nighttime Gentleman Saint Germaine. He is the actual official Dark Irregulars G Guardian. A better one, I think, in my choice than that other one. But either one, both of them are like the same. His skill is, when this unit is placed in the Guardian Circle, if your soul contains 10 or more cards, this unit gets 10,000 power in that battle. And if the number of cards in your soul is 15 or more, choose any number of your units, and until the end of the turn, they get a resist ability. So if you have 15 or more cards in your soul, all your monsters or your units gets a resist ability. So it is amazing to fucking have. So, yeah. With that being said and done, thank you guys for watching, and that is the deck profile at this conclusion. And I probably said that the whole thing backwards, but I'm tired, so I don't give a shit. But yeah, guys, that is the deck profile update of Dark Irregular Scharhrot. I hope you guys like what you saw. And as always, guys, there will be a full deck list in the description down below. So if you have any questions or comments, make sure you leave them in the comment section down below, and we'll talk about it. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned for the next one, because there's going to be a crap ton more videos left over. And so yeah, guys, I'm Siren Frost. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, comment down below, thumbs up for it, rate it, and etc. Anyway, guys, till next time, bye!